Happy Tuesday, Who Dat Nation. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at ESPN's unofficial depth chart released for the New Orleans Saints. And we're talking about it because the preseason is right around the corner. We are 5 days away from the New Orleans Saints preseason kicking off versus the Los Angeles Chargers. We're going to be live here on Saints Not by Chat Sports. Plus, we're going to be live for every single snap throughout the preseason, regular season, hopefully the postseason. So I hope you guys subscribe to the channel, join us, and plus, you'll get daily videos around your favorite football team. Now, before we dive into the quarterback position, we're going to start offense, then go to defense, and then special teams. I want to remind everyone, this is an unofficial depth chart. The New Orleans Saints have not released their starters. They have not made official anything yet. The quarterback battle is still very much so ongoing. In fact, Kellen Moore today at practice saying that he has not made a decision at the quarterback position. Just wanted to give you that blanket statement. This is what ESPN is projecting, not what I'm projecting. I'm just going to be reacting and giving you my thoughts throughout this video. Now, Tyler Shough was listed as the QB1. You probably saw it in the title. Spencer Rattler at QB2. Jake Haener with the third string. And then, obviously, we know Hunter Dekkers recently was released by the Black and Gold. In my personal opinion, I think Spencer Rattler is actually going to be QB1. I do think Tyler Shough will start some games for the New Orleans Saints in his rookie season, but Spencer Rattler, in my opinion, we'll start weeks 1, 2, 3, probably 4, maybe even going into weeks 5 and 6. Nothing against Tyler Shough. I just think Rattler has been really impressive early thus far. I mean, we've had 10, 11 days of training camp, so it has been pretty nice to see Spencer Rattler starting to kind of run away with it. Tyler Shough, though, having some good moments. ESPN thinks Tyler Shough is QB1. I think it's going to be Spencer Rattler. Kellen Moore has not made his decision. Let's go to the running back position. Really no surprises here. Alvin Kamara at running back 1. Kendre Miller at 2. Devin Neal at 3. But in the depth positions, you have some really intriguing options. Velus Jones, a really, really fast player, really nice ability in the special teams area. Cam Akers, a very solid running back as well. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I like him too. Marcus Yarns has been impressive in training camp. And to me, the rushing attack for New Orleans is going to be extremely important in 2025 because the offense we know is going to be led by an inexperienced either rookie or second-year player or Jake Haener and a third-year player. My point being, I do believe that the rushing attack will be heavily leaned on in New Orleans. Kellen Moore leaned on it big time in Philadelphia. He's known to adapt to the strengths of his roster. I think that this is a strength of the Saints roster. And Alvin Kamara, I still think he's a premier running back in this league, and I hope that this rushing attack can be very effective. Big part of that is the offensive line. But we're going to go to the wide receivers first. Chris Olave, Brandon Cooks, Rashid Shaheed. Those are going to be your top 3 wide receivers. And then Mason Tipton, who's been a training camp all-star. He's under Chris Olave. You got Bub Means in the mix as well. The biggest wide receiver on the depth chart in terms of size. Kevin Austin Jr., Donovan Peoples-Jones, Cedric Wilson, Dante Pettis. You have Moochie Dixon, Chris Tyree as well on the wide receiver group. So you're going to have to make some changes. You're going to have to make some cuts. This is going to be a unit that I'm going to be very heavily paying attention to during the preseason. But honestly, I don't really care about the preseason. For this next 10, 15 seconds, I'm just excited for the regular season because Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, these guys are going to be so much fun to watch this season. I truly do believe number 22 is going to have a massive breakout year. I also firmly believe that Chris Olave is going to establish himself as a true weapon in this Saints offense. I'm really pumped to see Kellen Moore work with some really intriguing players like Chris Olave, like Rashid Shaheed. They have some really nice skills, some very intriguing traits, and I think that Kellen Moore is going to have a lot of fun with those two players. Very, very excited to see how they get utilized. I don't think they're only going to be pass catchers. I think that they're both going to be rushing the ball a little bit as well. Maybe some jet sweep action. Excuse me. Tight end depth chart. Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, Taysom Hill. It is important to note that Foster Moreau, he's progressing in terms of his injury. Juwan Johnson, he's missed some time, but not really anything major, so we're not really going to designate him with an injury today. Taysom Hill, though, it is worth noting, I don't think he will be back for quite some time. He's recovering from a severe knee injury. But you also have Maliki Mataval, who was a 7th-round pick. Jack Stoll was brought in through free agency. He has familiarity with Kellen Moore from his time in Philadelphia. Trayton Welch, a player who's been having some good moments. Michael Jacobson has had some moments. Seth Green was a player that was in the UFL, has a history at the quarterback position, and now he is on the New Orleans Saints tight end room. But Juwan Johnson is the one player that I'm heavily honing in on this year. Of course, I want to see Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill be very impactful, but Juwan Johnson, being the tight end one, is going to get some work. He signed a 3-year, $30 million contract. To me, that says Kellen Moore believes in this player. Kellen Moore is investing in him, and he thinks that he can be a very heavy contributor to his offense. So Juwan Johnson, I expect to have a major role in 2025 for the New Orleans Saints. We've talked about all the pass catchers. Who do you think is going to lead the New Orleans Saints in receiving yards? I'm going to say Chris Olave. Rashid Shaheed, though, could be an interesting one. Alvin Kamara, don't sleep on his receiving ability. Juwan Johnson, maybe that's a guy who could really get a big step this season. I want to hear from you. I'm going to go Chris Olave, but I want to hear from the Who Dat Nation in the comment section. Get down to the trenches. That's where games are won and lost. Kelvin Banks, Trevor Penning, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and Tyler Shough. Those are going to be your starting offensive linemen. I don't really expect much change to happen in terms of the starters and the O-line, but the depth is where you're going to have to figure things out. Barry Wesley, Dylan Radins, Will Clapp, Landon Young, Josiah Zerum. You also have Kyle Hergel, who has been a pretty solid option. He was really good in the preseason. UDFA out of Boston College. Shane Lemieux recently signed back to the New Orleans Saints. Torricelli Simpkins, he's also been getting work at the center position. He was a UDFA this year. Jonathan Mendoza, he was a player that the Saints recently brought in. Easton Kilty, also a part of this depth chart. In my opinion, for the New Orleans Saints, I do believe they could have one of the top offensive lines in the National Football League this year. And that is very, very dependent on a couple of things. One being, if everyone stays healthy. If the starters can stay healthy, I think that the New Orleans Saints are set up for success. 2, if everyone does their jobs. Kelvin Banks can be a reliable rookie at the left tackle position. He can be that bona fide left tackle for the foreseeable future. That's a good sign. If Tyler Shough on the opposite side can transition from being a career right tackle to going to the left side to back to the right side now this year, if he can make that transition again seamlessly, you're in a really good spot. Eric McCoy, continue to be one of the best centers in the league. Cesar Ruiz, get a little bit more consistent for me. I'm a fan of what he's done so far, but I think that there's more to be had from Cesar Ruiz. And Trevor Penning, that is the one that all my eyeballs are on, both all 2 of them. And all your eyeballs should be on, because if he can pan out as a left guard, boy, oh boy, you are set up very, very nicely in the offensive line. Let's go to defense, though. The 5-man front, the New Orleans Saints are going to be deploying a 3-4 base scheme for their defense under Brandon Staley. So you're going to have 3 down linemen, 2 guys on the outside. Those are going to be your edge rushers. That is why it's a 5-man front. Carl Granderson, Chase Young, those are going to be your outside edge rushers. Those guys are more than likely going to be standing up. Cam Jordan, Colin Saunders, Devon Gotcha on the interior. Fadil Diggs, Jasheem Davis, they've been making a lot of noise at training camp. Vernon Broughton been a little bit quiet. John Ridgway has been a player that's been reliable as a run stopper. Nathan Shepard, want to see him continue to contribute. Want to see more from him, but to be totally honest, I think that his role is, going to be more rotational. Same with Jonathan Bullard. Bryan Bresee, I don't know why ESPN had him so low. That really doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Isaiah Foskey behind Jonah Williams. I'm just going to say this right now. I need a lot more from this pass rush. I'm going to just be totally frank. Last year, this pass rushing unit was very, very bad. They got a lot of pressure. That's awesome. But pressure isn't production. And for me, I'm a son of a bitch for production. I would love to see Chase Young turn all 73 of those pressures, which was 6th in the National Football League, into some sacks. I don't need it all. I said all 70. I want to see 73 pressures turn into some more sacks. That was 5.5 last year. Unacceptable. Chase Young signed a big contract. He is supposed to have a big year. I want to see him get double digits this season. Carl Granderson, 61 pressures. That was 13th in the National Football League. Also only had 5.5 sacks. Cam Jordan, 28 pressures. That was good for 66th in the National Football League. Only 4 sacks. The Saints need to get home. Turn those pressures into production, and everything will be much, much easier across the board for the Saints defense. The linebacker room in New Orleans is something that I think we should all start buying stock in now. Don't get it twisted. I don't want anything to be taken away from Demario Davis because we're going to hone in on Pete Werner and Danny Stutzman in a moment. But Demario Davis is still playing at such a high level. I think that he is going to continue to play at a high level. And honestly, I'm not really going to project him to start taking a dip in production until we really see it. Danny Stutzman, Pete Werner, though, I'll tell you right now, I am so excited. You have Nephi Sewell, you have Isaiah Stallbird, you have some other players as well, Jalen Ford as well in the linebacker room that are all interesting. DeMarco Jackson, you have players that could contribute and whatnot, but something about Danny Stutzman and Pete Werner really gets me fired up. And I think that could be a really, really exciting linebacker duo after Demario Davis retires. You're not taking Demario Davis off the field. That's just not happening. Pete Werner, hard to take him off the field. He signed a pretty nice contract, and he is trying to take that next step and be an elite linebacker. You're not going to get that from a player if you take them off the field. So Danny Stutzman's going to be more rotating in. And I mean, Brandon Staley, best of luck trying to get him on the field because I don't know how you're going to take Danny Stutzman off the field. But, I mean, between Pete Werner, Demario Davis, Danny Stutzman, that is a really exciting linebacker unit in New Orleans. And before we keep this thing rocking and rolling, I got to tell you about this new sale. Sale alert! Sale alert! Wee woo! Wee woo! Wee woo! This Nike Saints polo, it was $70. I got it hooked up for you. $47. Go to chatsports.com/NoPolo. It's New Orleans polo, obviously. So if you click the link that's in the comment section or description of this show, you can get this shirt on sale, as well as a lot of other awesome items on the Fanatics website. So click the link down below, chatsports.com/NoPolo. Get this polo. It was $70. Now it's less than $50. Use our link to support the show and get yourself some new gear. Perfect for this football season. Perfect for a round of golf. Perfect for some day drinking with the fellas. Go get swagged out today. The cornerback room, I'm going to tell you right now, to quote the great John Gruden, it got me feeling nicey. But let me just pick apart this really quickly. Again, ESPN's unofficial depth chart. You can't see me right now, but I have a headache. Like I'm wincing in pain. Kool-Aid McKinstry, yes, will be the outside line or cornerback. Alontae Taylor is not going to be on the right side. Alontae Taylor is going to be in the nickel, and he's going to be playing in a star role. So I don't think Alontae Taylor will be on the outside. That's wrong on ESPN's part. Quincy Riley, I do believe, will be in that position. Ugo Amadi will be the backup to Alontae Taylor, although I think Isaac Yiadom could also challenge Quincy Riley to potentially be the starter, just being that he's a rookie. Isaac Yiadom, having more experience, could be the guy that Brandon Staley opts to start in week 1. But I do like Rico Payton. I really like Rajon Wright. Both of those two players are very exciting prospects. Dallas Beanham has been making plays. So is Jaden Price. But look, we can talk about the depth all we want, but the starting trio is really what we should be excited about. I'm going to talk about kind of projecting into the future. Obviously, Isaac Yiadom is in the fold here, but look, Alontae Taylor in this new star role in Brandon Staley's scheme, I think is going to be really, really, really disruptive. Jalen Ramsey had a massive, massive jump in his career after Brandon Staley got to work with him. Not saying he's going to be Jalen Ramsey. Fingers crossed, similar role, though. Quincy Riley, this guy is making plays left and right at training camp. He has been lighting it up. Kool-Aid McKinstry, same with him. He has been a dog, and I am so eager to watch this young trio because I think the future is extremely bright in New Orleans at the cornerback position. Safeties, too. I'm not going to get it twisted. The cornerbacks are nice, but Justin Reid, Julian Blackmon, I mean, that is a big upgrade, in my opinion, over Tyrann Mathieu and Will Harris. No disrespect to the Honey Badger. But Justin Reid, a little bit younger, still playing at a very high level. Julian Blackmon, I think, is an upgrade over Will Harris. Jordan Howden has been making plays. Jonas Sanker has really started to come alive at training camp. JT Gray, your special teams ace. You also have Terrell Burgess, who does have familiarity in Brandon Staley's defenses. Look, I am so sad still. I still miss Tyrann Mathieu. Don't get it confused. I really missed Tyrann Mathieu. I was really looking forward to seeing him and Justin Reid team up once again, but for the New Orleans Saints, for the hometown team. That being said, Justin Reid and Julian Blackmon, that's nice. That's a really good duo. Very, very contractually, though it's a big-time steal, that's a very, very nice move for the New Orleans Saints. They're really not paying them all that much money. I think that is an awesome safety duo to have. They're still they still got a lot of gas in the tank. They still got a lot to prove, and I like this squad. I think the DBs overall are going to be in a really, really good spot for New Orleans this year. Now, let's finish things off. Last but certainly not least, special teams. ESPN projecting Blake Groupie, Matthew Hayball to win their positional battle. Zach Wood will be the long snapper. Fun fact, he is no longer the lowest rated Madden player, which is, I guess, pretty cool. Shout out to Blake Groupie for that fact. Rashid Shaheed will be your starting punt returner. You'll have 2 kick returners, so I expect if Velus Jones makes the roster, it'll be Sheed and Velus Jones. But if not, I think Kendre Miller will be a guy that could also be a kick returner. He has done some of that. Dante Pettis as well. But then you have Kai Kroger. He is a third-string punter on this unofficial depth chart. He is competing with the New Orleans Saints punter battles. So there you have it. That is the unofficial depth chart according to ESPN. Now predict the record for me down below for the 2025 NFL season. I keep kind of going back and forth between like 7 wins and like 5 wins. I don't want to get my hopes way too high, but I mean, I think the ceiling could be a double-digit win season, and I do think we're going to surprise some people. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to say 7 wins. I don't know. I change my mind every day. But this is why I ask you guys to get down in the comment section, make me feel better, and let me know what you guys are thinking. Who Dat Nation, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.